Okay, today we're going to make a blueberry pie. So what I've done, I've got 3 cups of all-purpose flour in here. Thank you very much, Dee Dee Heberling, who was nice enough to bring it to me because I couldn't find any. So I have 3 cups of flour, and I'm going to add to that, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. And I'm just going to whisk it up a little bit just to get it mixed up in there. Just like that. That's all there is to it. And then I'm going to take, I've got here a cup and a quarter of Crisco. I buy my Crisco in the sticks because it's easier to measure. And I'm going to take, this is my cutter upper. I know that's not the official name, but however, that's what I call it. My cutter inner. So I'm going to cut the Crisco into the flour. Yes, I washed my hands. Yes, oh, I put my apron on too. Okay. So it's just going to get mixed in there. Going to do it until it becomes about the size of a pea. A pea. You know, like a pea. Those things you don't like. You're not watching. Okay. So, we got that about where I want it. A little bit more. Don't be in a hurry. Okay. Now I have 1 egg. I'm going to beat it up and drizzle it into my flour mixture. Kind of mix that in a little bit. Okay, so now I've got 1 tablespoon of white vinegar, and I'm going to put that in there. Stir it up a little bit. So this is what I've got now. Kind of a mess, isn't it? I'm going to add to this, I'm going to add 5 to 7 tablespoons of cold. I have ice in here. Cold water works best. So I'm going to add 5 to 6 tablespoons and just kind of spread it out through there. When you get done with this, you want your dough to be
I didn't hear that.
About the consistency of Play-Doh. You guys all know what Play-Doh feels like. That's about what you want the consistency to be. And this is not quite where I want it to be, so I'm going to add just a little bit more water. Now we get to get our hands dirty. And just work it a little bit. The more you work it, the tougher your pie crust is going to be. So don't overwork it. Don't do any more than what you absolutely have to do. Why? To get to the right consistency. Because you don't want tough dough. Nobody wants tough pie crust. So see, there's still a little bit of So I still need a little bit of water in here. Now it's coming together the way I want it to come together. So this is what I have now. It's moist. But see how it comes together? So I'm going to put it all together. Then I'm going to put it on a piece of clear wrap. And I'm going to put it in the refrigerator for half an hour. I find the pie dough rolls out best when it's cold. So I'm just going to wrap that up. Throw it in the refrigerator. Turn it off. And all right, so here I've already cleaned them and sorted through them. This is a 10-inch pie that I'm going to make, my blueberries. This is the 10-inch pie that I'm going to make. The recipe will tell you 5 cups. I, however, like to have a little bit heftier pie. So I've got almost 6 cups here. I've got 2/3 of a cup of sugar. I've got 1/4 of a cup of flour. And again, I kind of deviate. It calls for a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. I like cinnamon. It's a whole teaspoon of cinnamon. And I'm going to mix that all together. I have here 2 tablespoons of lemon juice that I'm going to stick on my blueberries and find my spoon I want. I'm going to take my seasoning. Throw in my blueberries. Set my blueberries off to the side. Gonna roll the crust out. I have my pastry mat. Pastry mats are good to have. If you don't have one, you could always use just your counter, but then you have to clean that. A little bit of flour.
Where'd you get the pastry mat?
I don't need to do. Williams-Sonoma is a good place to get a pastry mat. That was a cue from my husband. Probably Bed Bath & Beyond has them. But they're handy to have. So I've got my dough that we put in the refrigerator half an hour ago. And I'm going to take about half of it. I know I'm not going to need the whole half of it, but I'm going to take half of it.
Oh, I didn't see how you did that.
I guess it's okay. I just cut it in half, that's all. A little bit of flour. You don't want it to stick. Flour your rolling pin. If you don't have a rolling pin, use a wine bottle. Works just as well. When I roll out dough, I turn it. I never go back. I only go one way at the edges because otherwise you're going to get it stuck. And again, put my flour in underneath it. I always make sure you've got flour in underneath it because otherwise it's going to stick and then you're going to have a mess. So the nice thing about my pastry mat, it's marked. So I know when I have 10 inches. But I'm going to go a little over 10 inches. One, because I want my crust thinner. Got got my 10-inch pie pan. Well, that didn't come out real good, but that's okay. Pie crust goes into the pan. Now, one nice thing about pie crust, especially the bottom crust, is if you make a boo-boo, guess what? You can fix it, and no one's going to see it. They're just going to eat it. So I'm trimming this right along the edge of my pie pan for the bottom crust. And I got a little piece here I don't like the looks of. So I'm taking a little bit of water, put it on my crust, stick it right there. I'm going to take my blueberries, stick them in my pie crust. And there's going to be sugar at the bottom of the bowl, your spice mixture. Just put it in there. Don't be afraid of it. Just stick it in there. I've got 3 tablespoons of butter here. And I'm just going to plop it all around the top. Move that out of the way. Throw a little bit more flour down on my, ooh, clean that up, it's going to stick. A little bit more flour down on my, my pastry mat. Take my other piece of dough. A little bit of flour here, a little bit of flour here. A little more flour on my rolling pin. I'm going to roll this one a little bit over the 10 inches again. A couple of reasons. I want it thinner. It's a little thicker than I want it. I don't want too much crust. The reason that you put the vinegar in this recipe is beyond me, except this is the only pie crust recipe that I've ever had. It's called a never fail. That has never failed. So you gotta use that tablespoon of vinegar. All right, so now I got my crust rolled out again. I'm gonna bring it over here, put it on top of my pie. Awesome. I'm going to trim this a little bit out from the edge of the pie plate. Just a little bit, just like that much. Because what we're going to do I'm going to tuck it in under the bottom crust to form a seal. What?
Can't see.
Oh. So I'm just going to fold it under the top one or the bottom one, like that, all the way around. And then I'm going to take my little fork that I can't find. And I'm just going to take all the way across around the fork of the pie crust, and I'm going to seal it up. You can flute it if you want to. I actually am not a very good flautist. I'm not sure. This is the way my mom taught me to do it, so that's the way I do it. Okay, so now I got that there. So you always, when you bake a pie, you have to vent the top crust or it doesn't cook correctly. So I'm just going to put some slits in there. I try to make a little design. Nothing fancy. I'm not real artistic, but boink, 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 boink. There we go. Now, finale. Milk. Plain old everyday milk in my pastry brush. And I'm just going to brush a little bit of the milk on my crust. It helps it to brown nicely. Get those edges. You don't want to drown it. You just want a little coating of milk on it. And I usually use fat-free milk, but the last person that went to the store for me got me 2%, which seems so fatty to me. Okay, so I've done that. Got a little bit of sugar here, just a little bit of sugar. Sprinkle it on there. Done. I'm going to put it in the oven. My oven is at 425. You might want to put if you have one, put an oven mat in your oven because pies sometimes have a tendency to run over. And then you don't have to clean the oven. So I'm going to throw that in there. 45 to 50 minutes, and then it'll be done. About halfway through, I will turn it so that if your oven doesn't heat real evenly, that way it browns evenly all the way around. And I'll be back when the pie is done. Turn it off. Oh, there it is. There it is, the finished product. I hope you got something out of this video. If you have any questions, call me and I can help you out. If you want to come over tonight, I've got vanilla ice cream to go on top of this pie. Yum. And see you all soon. Bye.